Presenting to you what we have been cooking in the last 2 years, a bit less than 2 years. And it's, I hope this way, what? Yeah. So here is the wonderful team that co-designed the NEB Academy through the project of New European Bauhaus Academy Alliance. And it's kind of like an open journey that we have been doing together, the team that was presented, but we went out of the box as well. We have been in Brussels, we were in Kiev, we were in Innsbruck with the policymakers and industry. We were doing meetings online, and like to say that we were cooking, cooking what we are today presenting. At Lorenzo, thank you for sharing this photo with us. But why NEB Academy? We could be starting with this negative thought that there is an urgent need to change, to become a climate neutral, especially in the built environment. But I would say NEB Academy is to make our lives and living environments better through skills, education, innovation, mindset, collaboration. And today's event is an evidence of this, that we are able to connect with different stakeholders from different parts of Europe and beyond. So the mission, it's sometimes hard to say every single word that is important, what is actually mean the mission, and therefore I will allow myself to read it. So it's to train, upskill, and reskill the construction ecosystem to achieve a carbon neutral building sector and a beautiful, sustainable, and inclusive transformation of the built environment. And here I would like to mention that we have prepared a manifesto that is there in the back of one table, and we would like to invite you to be part of the future journey, but I will come back to this a bit later. So what we were doing and what was happening in these last years and what is our plan for the future? So we have been establishing the hubs throughout Europe, and we have been communicating very closely with different stakeholders, and I think that was also the reason why NEB Academy, or we contributed that the NEB Academy today became a very important item in many strategic documents of European Union. What's coming next? So micro-credentials to be offered throughout Europe to really assure that we have a transition and that we have enough critical mass of experts that can be creating the new built environment. We, of course, want to be supporting also the new policy making that throughout Europe. Sometimes we see the best practices in different countries, but what you really want to achieve is that Europe as a whole will have the policies that will be supporting the new way we build. And what is onwards, our mission is to go beyond Europe and be present on every continent, because that's the only way we will really achieve the change in the globe that is needed. For whom is the NEB Academy? And it's always hard to list everyone, because when you're talking about the built environments and the construction ecosystem, it covers so many different stakeholders. But it's about education, training, skilling. Those are the list of them that actually partner to the existing or the NEBA Alliance cuts that we were establishing. So what we actually stated, how we were doing it, so co-designing the European-wide alliance, it was a wonderful journey, acknowledging the obtained skill, and it's through the credits. And beyond that, we have been offering trainings, and therefore we're doing a bit of math, how many we actually reach. And so we are above 5,000 actually participants that somehow went through our trainings. There is also an online platform where currently we have 48 trainings offered. However, this list is growing and we are adding the content to it still. So we also build the community of practice. We were also defining the skills agenda and the policy roadmap, and just some kind of like activities related to this is that we came up with a NEB recognition framework, which is of course a very important part. So how the training is actually a NEBA training, and we have been engaging in different groups and the different policy level activities, and I would emphasize that we are actively collaborating with the Wood for Bauhaus initiative, with the Woodblock initiative, and we were also providing quite a few recommendations for the policy on the European Bauhaus in Europe. So as you're saying that then in about 10 years or 8 years you want to go beyond Europe, but we have been doing this already now. And so we were connecting ourselves with Japan, Brazil, Ukraine, and I'm pleased that they have also other colleagues from you to create with us. So it is not just about Europe and the countries that I indicated earlier, but we want to really grow beyond. And we have been present at many different events where we were trying to make it recognizable, so that the NEB Academy becomes kind of like a branded entity that the stakeholders throughout the world wants to collaborate with. So we also learned, I mentioned we were doing also the gap analysis, and so there is of course a need to also be taking educational systems, and I'm pleased to share that we were able to also create a new study program that is called Wood Innovation for Sustainability at the NEBA that is coordinated in Slovenia. But it's not just that we had it in Slovenia. There was a mobility window where the students will go to partner institutions throughout Europe as well. We also included kind of like the obligatory course on the designing the European Bauhaus. But if I come back, so now I will give you a bit of an overview of what happened in these 2 years. I hope you got the feeling that it's something that wasn't just a project, as Danny earlier said. It was something that we were doing from the day zero on as a long-lasting activities that we want to be achieving. But so climate neutral, built environment, skills, education, innovation, mindset, and collaboration are the key words to be emphasized here. So with that, I would maybe just a bit trigger your thinking when in Europe, this renewable material that we are really like emphasizing is timber. And I'm not sure if you have been noticing a paper of 2 years ago published in Nature where they actually discovered a really big wooden structure, which is supposed to be older than us, the people of today. And of course, this triggers the thinking, are you maybe going back there where it used to be, but it was just done in a way that it wasn't in a sustainable manner? So I would say that with this slide, I would like to emphasize that creating the built environment where we feel good and where our well-being is assured is an important task beyond, of course, the climate neutrality that we want to be achieving. And examples of a really long-lasting buildings, and here all of them are churches, and they're all over the world. And even here in Spain, I guess you can go, or in Barcelona, you can go and visit some of these nice wooden structures. But it's something that we should be together communicating to the public. The timber building is not something that lasts for one generation, but it's something that can last also for a long time. We need to be looking into the nature, and biophilic design, I believe, is an important aspect that we shouldn't be forgetting when we are creating up a new built environment. So if we go through this knowledge, skills, innovation, the NEB Academy in the back is something that we can really make the European Union a competitive in terms of the global environment. But you should be also aware that skills and that are there needs to be preserved, and then of course in a proper way combined with the innovative technologies, advanced technologies, if I say so. And it's co-creation that is important in the society. So we should be really be building on this, what we started working on in the last years with the new European Bauhaus kind of coming to all of us on the ground. As they were making a nice, wonderful instrument, but through the music that comes out of it, the beauty can be actually achieved. Driving innovation. This is something that we aim by being present in different research and innovation activities. And of course, by assuring that proper skills are being developed. And what I would say is that all of these short 2 years, we have been really setting up what the NEB Academy is, how we operate, where we are. We also were active in already stepping into the research environments. And here are just 3 examples of horizon projects where NEB Academy has already an important role. So one is the Woodstop, where it's about utilizing underutilized wood species, that it's timber house, where this sustainable innovation in timber housing is actually a big research. And coming soon, in a month or 2, we are starting the project that is about how to actually change the public procurements that they did open the doors to the advanced materials. I could be listing more projects, but just kind of 3 of them as indication that NEB Academy already has its place in the research projects. We mentioned already at the beginning that there are several that we were able to communicate closely with different policymakers. And of course, it's not only because of us, it's of course also because of the vision of the European Commission. But still, I would emphasize the European Bauhaus from vision to implementation. The NEB Academy really got a strong role, but not to ignore the 2 other very important policy documents, the bioeconomy strategy and European affordable housing, where NEB Academy has its role. And it was co-organized between Austria and South Africa. And we were preparing documentations, pull for actions. And it's very important to be aware that it's not just Europe, and that we have to be also emphasizing the activities that are relevant for beyond that. Another activity that is ongoing is that's a Woodpop initiative, which is an initiative of policymakers connecting 27 countries, has a call for data award, which is a timber buildings in 4 different categories: the residential, non-residential, that makes it also infrastructure and renovation. And the NEB Academy is tasked to be evaluating the projects based on the net values and working principles. And the awards will be known in November in Prague. So we have been enabled that the NEB Academy and other knowledge that we created so far will be also kind of transferred into this award competition. What else? What comes next? Well, I would list just a few. One is that we need to have a really strong NEB Academy brand, and we have to transform our platforms into a primer training marketplace. That's our wish to be achieving. And quality assurance is something that we believe it's also very much needed. We have a lot of trainings available around, but NEB Academy is aiming to be the synonym for the quality of the trainings. And co-designing, of course, a sustainable business model for the future. And to be present long time and of course evolve. And the experiences that we gained through the last 2 years, I believe, are really important for this further development of an NEB Academy. And I will conclude by inviting you again to be co-signing our founding manifesto. You're most welcome to add to my talk, especially the partners of NEBA Academy Alliance, if I didn't emphasize an important aspect of the last 2 years. Thank you.